You had everything. And then, in a single day, you had nothing. This is not a story about punishment. This is not a story about karma. This is a story about what happens when God trusts you with suffering that has no explanation, and whether you will still choose him when the silence is all you have left. You are a man named Job, and you live in a land of Uzi, and you are by every measure a good man. Not perfect, but genuinely good. You wake up early every morning to pray for your children, just in case they sin the night before, without realizing it. You are wealthy beyond most people's imagination. 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, 10 children, a devoted wife, a community that respects you. You sit the city gate, and when you speak, people listen. When you walk by, young men step aside. You have spent your entire life doing the right thing, and the right thing has returned to you in abundance. You have no reason to believe today will be any different from yesterday. This is the last ordinary morning of your life. You do not know what is happening in the heavenly realm while you eat breakfast with your family. You do not know that God has pointed you out specifically, that he has said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." You do not know that the accuser has responded, "Of course he loves you. You have given him everything. Take it away and he will curse you to your face." You do not know that God has said, "Everything he has is in your power. Only do not lay a finger on the man himself." You do not know that your life is about to become the answer to a question you were never asked. You are just a man finishing his breakfast, completely unaware that heaven and earth are about to collide in your living room. The first messenger arrives while you are still eating. Your oxen and donkeys have been stolen and your servants killed. Before he finishes speaking, a second messenger arrives. Fire has fallen from the sky and burned your sheep and your shepherds. Before he finishes speaking, a third messenger arrives. Raiders have stolen your camels and killed those servants too. Before he finishes speaking, a fourth messenger arrives. A great wind came from the desert and struck the four corners of the house where your children were eating, and the house collapsed, and all 10 of them are dead. For messengers, for catastrophes, all of your children, all of your wealth, all of it gone before you can stand up from the table. You tear your robe, you shave your head, you fall to the ground, and you worship. You say, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." You do not understand what has happened, but you do not curse God. Not yet, not today. Then your body becomes a battlefield. Painful sores break out on your skin from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. Every inch of you burning and infected and raw. You sit in the ashes outside your home, scraping your skin with a piece of broken pottery, because the pain is constant and there is nothing else to do. Your wife looks at you and says, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." She is not a villain. She is a woman who has also lost everything and is watching her husband suffer and cannot bear it. But you say to her, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Even now you do not sin with your lips. Even now, in the worst moment of your life, you hold on. But holding on does not mean you are not breaking. Your 3 friends come, Eliphaz and Bildad and Zophar. They hear what has happened, and they travel from their homes to be with you. When they first see you from a distance, they do not even recognize you. They weep loudly and tear their robes and sit with you on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights without saying a single word, because they see how great your suffering is. 7 days of silence. 7 days of just being present. This is the most they will ever help you, because when they finally open their mouths, everything changes. They tell you that you must have sinned, that this level of suffering only comes to those who deserve it, that God is punishing you for something hidden, something secret, something you have not confessed. Eliphaz speaks first and says, "Who being innocent has ever perished? As I have observed those who plow evil, and those who sow trouble reap it." Bildad says, "When your children sinned against him, He gave them over to the penalty of their sin. Zophar says, know this, God has even forgotten some of your sin. They are not trying to be cruel. They genuinely believe what they are saying. They have a theology that makes the world make sense, and you have become a problem that needs to fit inside it. If you are suffering this much, you must have done something to deserve it. That is the only explanation their worldview allows. And you are alone with their explanation, in your pain and the silence of God. You argue back. You say, I have not sinned. You say, I wish I could present my case before God directly. You say, even if he kills me, I will hope in him, but I will surely defend my ways to his face. You are not politely accepting the suffering. You are wrestling with it out loud. You say, why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? Will you torment a wind-blown leaf? Will you chase after dry chaff? You ask God directly why this is happening. You demand an answer. You say, oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come to his seat. I will present my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. You are not a man who has lost his faith. You are a man who is fighting for it with everything he has left, which is almost nothing. Then God speaks, not with an explanation, not with an apology, not with a reason for what happened. God speaks in the storm and says, where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand, who marked off its dimensions. Surely you know. God asks you question after question after question about the cosmos, about the foundations of the earth, about the gates of death, about the storehouses of snow, about the stars and the lions and the mountain goats and the wild ox. Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? And something happens inside you that cannot be fully explained. Not because the questions answer your pain, but because the presence behind the questions is so vast and so real and so personally directed at you that the need for explanation begins to dissolve inside the reality of being known. You say, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. You had theology before. Now you have encounter. God restores everything. He gives you twice what you had before. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, 1,000 donkeys, 10 more children. Your health returns. Your friends come back. Your brothers and sisters bring you silver and gold. You live 140 more years and see your children and their children to the 4th generation. The restoration is real, and it is documented, and it matters. But here is what the book of Job never says. It never tells you why. You never find out what happened in the heavenly realm. You never find out about the conversation between God and the accuser. You go to your grave not knowing the reason for the worst chapter of your life. The restoration comes. The explanation never does. And now, here is why this story was told to you today. You are sitting somewhere right now in the middle of something that makes no sense. You did the right things. You made the faithful choices. You prayed and you believed and you tried, and it still fell apart. And the worst part is not the loss. The worst part is the silence. The part where you call out and nothing comes back. The part where the people around you start suggesting reasons for your suffering that feel like accusations. The part where you wonder if your theology was wrong all along, or if God is paying attention, or if any of this means anything at all. Job's story was not written to explain your suffering. It was written to tell you that your suffering has been seen, that the silence is not absence, that the God who asked, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth, is the same God who knows exactly where you are right now and has not looked away for a single second. Your restoration may look different than Job's. Your timeline may be longer, but you are not forgotten. You are not being punished. And the fact that you are still here, still asking, still refusing to let go, means the story is not over. It never was.